Hello everyone and welcome to Spicy Soup, the channel where we cover sociology and related topics. My name is Chad Seeger, and today we're going to be covering the concept of the other, which is not only one of the most powerful concepts in all of sociology, it may be one of the most powerful concepts in all of human history. Don't believe me? Buckle up. There's this term in sociology called in-group, out-group. It says that we all have this concept that there are people who are on our team, and then there are the others, out-group, who may or may not be friendly. The concept goes way back in our evolutionary history. It kept us safe and connected to those around us. This can be great in so many ways as we build, adapt, protect, and sustain our societies. We often send messages to other humans, letting them know which side we're on should we need to form up. We find ourselves way more forgiving of those in-group and far more critical of those out-group. However, there's a related concept of the other, which is where I feel sociology's power can really be seen. In fact, you could make a pretty strong argument that the other is one of the most deadly and powerful concepts in all of human history. Yes, it can be an extremely deadly concept, but we'll get to that in a second. For now, though, in principle, the other's not that complicated. It takes outgrouping one step further by creating an enemy and/or dehumanizing the outgroup. I use the phrase creating an enemy because for the other to exist, a group doesn't actually have to have a real enemy. A group simply needs to have the concept of there being an enemy, then dehumanizing them. In practice, we stop seeing each other as individuals, but instead as challenges or threats that need to be defeated, sometimes by any means necessary. You may know it as having a common enemy that can sometimes be harmless. Rivalries between groups of friends, school cliques, high school rivalries, neighborhood rivalries, football rivalries, both American and international, and so on. If you think you're alone in experiencing this phenomenon, think again. We have carvings that go back to ancient times where one group talked trash on another. However, when used improperly, it makes for a pretty compelling argument. You and those close to you are under attack from outside, perhaps subhuman forces. They hate you and they hate your way of life and they want to take your stuff. You cannot defeat this force alone. You need strength in numbers. You need a strong group. Once the other's in effect, it confuses us. It clouds our judgment, and for better or for worse, moves us to action as a group. At its best, it helps us form up, to band together, utilize strength in numbers. At its worst, it forms mindless hatred and dehumanizes large swaths of people, which enables us to treat them less than human. Some historical examples of the other in action is the United States versus the Soviet Union during the Cold War, Muslims and Hindus during the partition of India, Brazil and Argentina during the World Cup, and Christians with their eternal battle with Satan, Bloods and Crips, and fans of PlayStation and Xbox, each believing the other only defeatable by drawing lines and forming up. Now, what if this feature were to be hijacked? Say a defense call would go out when there's not really a threat? How would we react? Would we know the difference? Well, the funny thing about those questions is the word we, because as it turns out, the individual very often can tell the difference when the group doesn't know or care. Now guess which one usually wins. The reality of this disconnect is one of the trickier aspects of sociology. Now you may have heard of the concept of groupthink. That's not really a sociological term. The same concept in sociology is simply the fundamental aspect that humanity is group animals and we tend to act and think together. But when the fight in the fight or flight is triggered within a group, a lot of our best aspects like reason and empathy get suppressed. What seems to remain? Very often it's fear, which can lead to absolute and unreasonable contempt. How this can manifest is segregation, pogroms, riots, lynchings, inquisitions, wars, persecution, enslavement, and ultimately ethnic cleansing and genocide. Keep in mind though, no one genocides people. They dehumanize a group to the point where they're no longer people, and then a genocide occurs. After an extensive and effective dehumanization campaign, Hitler's pitch to the German people was not that they were going to kill 6 million people. He told them they were going to keep Germany and Europe safe through any means necessary. And what resulted? Genocide. So how do we evaluate a threat claim without sliding into complete dehumanization? How can we differentiate the other from a real threat? Well, firstly, if I tell you that someone or something is coming to take what's yours and we need to band together and fight this outside force, it's a good idea to make sure that that's true. If a lot of dehumanizing language is being used, if the group requires actions that conflict with established morals, If I tell you not to think about it and just to trust me, and together we will win, with my leadership, of course, those are pretty common red flags that the other's at play. The other is a dangerous and complicated topic. Much of this video is just one person's interpretation of the other at work, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. If this video piqued your interest, I encourage you to research further, find out more that there is to know. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Spicy Soup. Leave a comment if you agree or disagree, would like to suggest future topics, or simply say hello. Like and subscribe if you like what you saw. My name is Chad Seeger, and I'll see you on the next episode of Spicy Soup.